in Delusi, Kolibi Mazel Teach. Levi, Migmagi, Kadawa, Waskawasi, Sonic, Delusi Gudan, Unamagi. My name is Albert Marshall Jr. I'm from Mi'kma'ki, but I reside in community college Eskazoni in Quebec now. I own a shop in my reserve. I opened up in 2020, in spite of leadership saying that nobody's allowed to open up a shop. They had a big letter stating that they're going to get NSLC, Nova Scotia Liquor Commission, to come in and actually do business in our reserve. And after attending university and talking to people like my dad, that I knew that what they were doing and not letting us exercise our rights as an individual was, I knew it was not right. I know that when it comes to rights or exercising your rights, that it's us, the people, that have that right to say we want or we don't. So I opened up a shop in 2020 of October. But before opening up, I already got letters and visits from, I got a letter from leadership in regards to not opening up. And then I got several visits while we're renovating the building that RCMP would come and tell me that, you have no right to do this, and you don't have any authority. And I kept asking them, who told you I don't have authority? So they would bring out these acts out to me, the Cannabis Act. And they brought out some, a moratorium letter from the ban. And I basically told them that, these don't even apply here. I said, that Cannabis Act doesn't even apply. And that moratorium from leadership doesn't apply. I said, I'm gonna open up anyways. Well, if you're gonna open up, we're gonna come and shut you down. I said, all right, that's fine. If you guys do, I'll just open up again. So I operated for a couple of months. Business was real great. Then they came around again in December. Again, telling me to stop operating, stop running this business because you don't have any. I don't have provincial authority to do this. And then I said, no, fine. I'm not gonna close up because I know that authority comes from our people. So I ended up being charged in that December of 2020 for operating a cannabis storefront without provincial authorization. So I ended up getting charged. Practically, I was robbed from the RCMP. They took all my products. They took all my money. They even took the sign off my building and took my cash. They took everything. And I went to court, and and I started this process of looking for a lawyer and all that stuff, and I did. And at the same time, I was kind of in the dark too. I didn't know where to turn, and luckily, and unfortunately, our friend Chris Google and several others were charged at the same time I was, but they're in a different reserve in the mainland of Nova Scotia. So, so Chris ended up finding Dell and other resources in regards to some direction of some protection from somebody, because as we all know, in Canada, as Indigenous people, we're always fighting against the government. And it seems like, and like Chris said, at that time, there was no place to turn. Like, there was no place to go see somebody about your concerns. So Chris, he was I call him the founding guy for our Mi'kmaq Rights Association that we have here in Atlantic Canada, where there's members that are shop owners, there's members that are fishermen, there's shop owners, there's people that are hunters, there's people that are in business, selling tobacco. So Chris ended up doing that, and then we ended up joining this and creating the association. But in the meantime, same time, I was going through some court with my charge in my reserve in regards to operating a Canada storefront without authorization. And I went through and I went through the whole court system for 2 years, and after 2 years of getting prepared with Del and Tom and the whole team in the Mi'kmaq Rights Association, they ended up dismissing my case last year. As soon as I mentioned Del's is going to be my expert witness, and then lo and behold, the officers disappeared. They were transferred to somewhere else, so they couldn't come testify for my trial. So my representative at that time requested a dismissal of my charges, and that was that. So, but in the meantime, I was still operating, and all that time I was going through court. I was being harassed at my business where the police would be parked at the end of the street, deterring customers from coming into my business. And if they did come in, then he would chase them down and charge them with something ridiculous like, improper store. He knew he couldn't charge them for whatever, right? So he would charge them for not properly storaged or whatever. But in the same time as me, one individual who's a good friend of mine, who was charged for that very thing, for coming from my shop, and he was charged for the same thing, for improper storage or something. But he was the only one who fought back with the courts. And just before my case was thrown out, his case was thrown out, I think, a week before mine was. And I guess, or 2 weeks, I'm not sure, but they kind of knew they couldn't win with him, and then mine was gone. So, but then after my charges were dropped, I didn't get my products back. I lost a lot of fuel bucks from it. And like I said, I operated again, and I tried to educate my people, our people, in regards to our rights and what we can do and what we can't do on reserve or off reserve. It doesn't matter where, but I tried to educate them on our rights, and I kept operating and saying that, I just kept fighting back. And like what Del always says is, the best way to fight back is just to keep doing what you're doing, which is either fishing, hunting, in business, or whatever. So I did that, and then after my case was thrown out, lo and behold, I got a visit again from the RCMP. This time it was a different individual, but I've been on this. I also work for the band as a land manager. And the funny thing is, I guess it's not funny, but I was on this. They call it I don't know what I don't know what the name of it is, but it was a committee in regards to all the managers in my organization, and we always talked about our departments, but it kind of morphed into a drug task, whatever. And they always talked about the problems with heavy drugs. They always talked about that at this table, and I was part of this table. But I decided to go into business because, like what I just mentioned earlier, that these people or anybody else can say that we can't go into business. So when they came back again, I explained to the RCMP, like, who sent you? And he wouldn't tell me who's, but I actually told him who sent you. And I actually told him every person that's on that committee. And then he asked me, how do you know that? I said, I was there. I said, the first day you were there was the last day I was there. He doesn't remember me. So he came back again. This new policeman came again, and I got visited again in it'll be a year next week, I think. About a year ago, he came to visit me at the shop again, brought me a letter again, telling me that I have no right to operate a storefront on reserve without provincial authorization. Same kind of letter I got the same time. So they gave me they told me to come up with documentation within 7 days of that letter, which was a Friday. And they gave me until next Friday. So me and Tom talked and Del talked, and they asked me, they said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm not shaking my boots, and I'm kind of concerned that I had to go through this again. So they mentioned this meeting in Six Nations. It was organized by some of the business people in Six Nations, and it was me and Hector who went that time, actually. I think it was the first time I met Hector here last year, and I picked him up, and you would have thought that we've been friends forever. We had great conversations all the way there and back. But me and Hector went there. We went to Six Nations, and they had somewhat of a they call that the rekindling of 1701 Beaver Bowl Agreement, where essentially it's a treaty amongst ourselves in the east side of Canada here, where everybody who has a wampum belt was part of that treaty. And the treaty was between amongst ourselves as tribes, where we agreed to share resources, where we agreed to share land and whatever. And it was an agreement between us. And at the same time, that was happening. And then we end up talking about my case, and we end up developing a documentation for response from the RCMP in my reserve. And I sent them the letter. I actually hand-delivered the letter to them. And I guess, what was it? Well, anyways, I delivered it. I delivered the letter, and then lo and behold, a week later, they came to rob me. Again, for the second time. And I didn't get any charges then, but I knew something was going to come. So when Del and Tom and the team came down to my reserve, we're going to go around Cape Breton and do some presentations on rights and whatnot. And so we ended up going to the police station that day to deliver our document that we developed. And then lo and behold, we got there. I got the charge the same time as we were giving them the letter. Again, even this was interesting. When we got there, and because they think I'm alone in this, and to be honest with you, when something happens to us individually, they always think that we're alone, where it's just you. But when we got there, and then they expected, I guess they just expected me to be there. Because I told them I'm coming back by 12 p.m. on that December 16th, I think it was. I'm going to be here. And then when we got there, there was a whole bunch of us there who came to the police station. And actually Del went there to deliver the book to them, to the police. And as they gave, and I delivered the letter to them. And as we exchanged, that's when they gave me the charge. and Dell's the expert in everything in my cases. And that's when that was kind of funny that Dell walked up and said, "Can I see that paper?" And the RCMP says, "And who are you?" And Dell just said, "I'm Dell." And even the police went like this, "Oh, you're Dell?" and Dell looked at the paper, and it said the exact same thing as it did in 2020. I was charged for, it's section 20, subsection 1, paragraph B of the Nova Scotia Cannabis Act, where it states that I don't have provincial authorization to operate a cannabis shop. Dell goes like, Dell even taps the paper and looks at the, another easy win. So that came to be, and I just had, and I had the last lawyer I had, we were not button heads, but in the beginning of it, we kind of were, because he knows that we have Aboriginal rights as Aboriginal, but yet he, as a lawyer, he has to work in the confines of the law, but yet he has to take consideration of our laws, and we, you know, he knew the concept that the laws of provincial law, right? And then he mentioned, and he knew the concept of federal law overarches provincial law, and he also knew that our inherent rights and treaty rights overarch both of them. But like I said, he was always still trying to work around the law, and I was telling him I was trying to use natural law, like what my dad mentioned today and Dell at court, and I was trying to explain that to him. And we went to we were going to court that time, and it was the same thing. It was just like it was like today. Like they didn't know what the hell. Like they didn't know what the hell was going on. Like they charged me for something that they didn't even know how to like go follow through with it. So again, I'm charged again, but this time around, with Dell's help and our association here, which the Captain Brothers are part of, we educated ourselves through the help of Dell, Tom, and Hector, and various other people, and Nick. Nick also helped us out too, where we, I had the confidence that I can take care of myself. I can represent myself in court, because I got very good training people that all my life who taught me, and my dad's on the same boat too. So this time around I represented myself, and I had court in September. I forget the date. It was middle of September, and I got to court. It was it's night court. It's not regular court. I got sent to night court. And they want, that's the last time, it's a $25,000 fine. And that's what they want. They want 25 grand. So, it's night court. I got to court, and you know, you have an opportunity when you go into court or you're representing yourself. You got an opportunity to talk with the Crown before court. So I said, okay. So I went and talked to the Crown. And she basically said that, you know, the witness that charged me isn't here. Just like the one in 2020. He said, he's not here, so I'm going to dismiss this. And I said, whoa, dismiss it? Hey, I said, this is my second time here. I said, and to be honest with you, I was kind of disappointed the first time I was dropped, I said. Because like Dale says all the time, we need a clear definition of our rights. So And I went, so that was that. I went into the courtroom. And again, they started speaking these big languages. And, after me going talking to Dill and everybody, and the judge said that, I can't make a decision right now because I have to see the actus reus. And he was trying to explain this to me, eh?
Yeah.
I said, Your Honor, excuse me. I know what actus reus means. I said. So therefore, I said, I'm not signing that agreed statement of facts. Therefore, this actus reus can't come into play. I said, I want a trial.
Let's go.
Yeah, so March 13, I got a trial date. But in the meantime, because I went there in the intention of representing myself in my own language. But they weren't equipped for me to do this. And that's when the judge said, well, like it happened to you today, where he said, I got to read this to you. You don't have to say yes or no right now, but I have to read it because that's the process that we go through. So he read me my charge without my interpreter, and I was fine with that, right? And then that's when he mentioned that actus reus and all that. And that's when I jumped in. I said, well, okay, I understand the charges, and I understand I can say I don't have to say yes or no. But that's when I said, I'm not signing that agreed statement of facts. So this actus reus can't come into play. So that was that. And they gave me, the judge gave me instructions of what to do. They said that since I'm representing myself, I don't have to send them a document that's 3, 4, 5 inches, whatever, thick. 100 pages. Since you're representing yourself, all you gotta do is a 2-3 page summary of your defense, of your argument for your defense. I said, okay. So they gave me a contact for Crown, federal Crown. Actually, they gave me a contact for provincial Crown. And I contacted the provincial Crown, and apparently the provincial Crown told me this is not me. He said, you have to talk to provincial federal Crown on this. So they gave me another number. Actually, they didn't give me a number. They just gave me a name of who this Crown is going to be. So since then, I've been trying to get a hold of the Crown, and I've left numerous messages on voicemail, and I emailed her a couple of times, I think, and then I haven't received anything from them. And then one of my friends works for Mi'kmaq Legal Services, and I asked him, like, do you know this person, this Crown? He says, yeah, I know her. I said, can you please give her a message? At least give her my address, my physical address at home. Give her my number. Here's my email. Like get her to talk to me. So I was in Alberta. Me and my dad were in Alberta at that time, in Banff, and he gave me a call that day, and he says that, I spoke with her, and this was in May, I think, and she said that he said that she hasn't received anything of my charges from February. She doesn't even have a disclosure of my charges. So this is why I've been trying to get a hold of them so I can send in the documentation that we're going to prepare for my defense, but nothing's happening. It's almost like it never happened.
Oh my God.
But yet, I've been robbed again, and it's. And then the funny thing is, when my first case got thrown out, lo and behold, I got sent home the next day, 2 weeks without pay. And you know, I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm here. I'm fighting. I'm continuing to fight, and I'm glad these brothers are here fighting on this end too, because we're fighting for everybody. We're fighting for ourselves. It's not just your right to operate or right to fish. It's a right for your grandchildren to fish, to hunt, to operate a business. And you know, I think that what Dell's doing and what Tom's doing and the Micmac Rice Association is doing is we're getting together as people. And it's a great organization, and I'm glad to be part of it. And if it wasn't for that, and it wasn't for Dell and Tom and everybody, that I probably would have gave up a long time ago. Because, to be honest with you, it's been rough. Business has been rough, but I'm not stopping because I believe in this. I believe that we have a right to trade anything. And that's what I'm doing. Practicing our inherent rights until my number's up, and then I can't practice them anymore. Maybe I'll practice them up there too. You know? But that's my story.
Wow.
Well, you.
So, the feds or the RCMP charged you with these charges. So what you're saying is, and then you had to go to court, but to follow up through, like it's supposed to go like even higher than that to like federal or somewhere like, and that, so that never ever happened even from your first charge?
No.
So would that be, then that comes at, and wouldn't that the cops are the one that are crooked?
Yeah,
They're literally just,
yeah. It's basically there's various. There's the first thing the cop did was violate some of my rights as an individual through the Indian Act, which is they broke up one of those, and then what it is it's they gave them direction to do this. It's not just a destructive RCMP or anything. They get
oh I know,
direction.
they get the call from our leaders.
Yeah,
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. And here's the thing, in my reserve, I'm not the only one who got charged. There was 3 of us who got charged around the same time in our reserve. But the other 2 didn't have financial resources like I did. So I ended up going to legal aid, which is terrible because legal aid is not designed to do constitutional questions based upon. They're not gonna tell you I'm not allowed to do this. They'll take you as a client and they'll tell you, you know what, let's go to a justice circle. There won't be any record of this or anything. But essentially there is, because you pleaded guilty to something that you have a right to.
Right.
So in 2 of the cases in my community, 2 of them went through that process. And when I went through, what I did, I got legal representation. And now there's, I don't know how many shops in my community, but it's me. This is my second time that I've been, I don't know if it's because, I don't know what it is. Maybe, I don't know. I guess because I'm very verbal and I'm not afraid to defend myself, you know, and that's a threat, I think, to the whole system. And all I'm doing is, I'm just trying to show our people that there's another way there's ways of making money or doing things rather than just sitting there every 2 weeks hoping for a welfare check or a job from the band or whatever. And yeah, that's the deal.
So you went today or on that second charge and it basically was like the same as the first?
Today, I mean,
Or-
now, yeah. So I exact same charge as I went through in 2020. I'm going
Did they
through.
rob you again like the
Yeah,
first
they
time?
did. They did again. They took all my money. They took all my products.
Are you being charged though? You got charges?
I got charged when we delivered paperwork in was it February? No, he's Jen.
The first time though, you didn't get charged. There was no
The first time I got charged,
They dropped it.
they dropped it.
You should have started a lawsuit.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
That's what we did, right?
That's what we did. As soon as they
And
dropped the charges, we'd start.
I actually talked to you at that time, and you got me down. You got me a number. You got me a representative from here,
Yeah.
and I talked to that representative, and they told me they can't do it because I'm in Nova Scotia.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to find someone that knows.
So I found people in Nova Scotia, but then they said we can't take this case until spring. You got a case, but you may win, you may win. So they gave me, they kind of said that, yeah, you probably win, but it probably costs you more to win.
Scare tactic.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, it's a scare tactic.
Yeah?
No, no.
Yeah. This is from people who I want to
I'll tell
hire.
you what, our case was so strong, the law firm took it on without us paying them a penny. They only paid them when they win.
Yeah.
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 33% at the end. And it's gonna take 5 years,
Yeah.
4 or 5 years.